What's up, everybody? Donnie B, Learn Pro Recording. You know, the site that not only shows you how to do some recording, but more importantly, how to get paid for it. Hey, man, got something special for you today. I really want to talk to you about your mix prep. I've also got a mix prep checklist, and there's a bonus download when you sign up and get the mix prep checklist. We'll talk about that in a minute. But before we do that, let's run the intro. Bobby, hit it. Hey everybody, Donnie B, Learn Pro Recording. Welcome back in. Today I'm going to run through the mix prep checklist with you. Hopefully you get some ideas and you get some motivation out of this, and I don't know, maybe help you get your mixes started faster by organizing things and getting things where they need to be and getting things ready to go. Just mix. That's all there is to it. If you don't know what mixing is blending all your parts together and making them work cohesively as one unit and sound like a record. Make your demo sound like a record. That's what we do as mix engineers, producers, studio owners, etc., etc. So hopefully you get something out of it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, reach out to me. It's info@learnprorecording.com. Shoot me an email, ask me a question, whatever it is you might need. But right now, let's run through this checklist. We'll get her done. Hey, we'll see you on the next one. My name is Donnie B. I'm out. Peace. Okay, let's run through this mix prep checklist. Look, being prepared is going to be the key to great mixes. Okay? So, scenario one, the client has sent you a DAW session, whether it's Pro Tools, Logic, etc. All the files are included on the timeline. They're already there in their respective tracks. Hopefully they're named. You make a copy of the session and by saving as. Don't overwrite the original session. Save it as something else in case you have to go back to the original session. You can. Sometimes the client will send you the session they've been working on for a while, and they might have some plugins already on the track. They might have some automation on there. Look, you can keep all that in the session and start from there, or simply remove the automation and plugins. Start with your own version of the mix. Look, understand this, man. That is a built-in reference track. The client has been working on the song for however long. I would bounce this reference track to use it later if you do want to strip the session of everything. Bounce that track so that you have a reference of what the client already wants the song to sound like. Scenario number two is that the client simply sends you WAV files. Maybe they've been working in FL, they've been working in Logic. They just export WAV files and send them to you. Sometimes this is best because they're only files, no plugins, no automation. You get to start from fresh from where you like to begin. You could begin by importing those files into your session and start from there. Hopefully the client's included a reference track in the WAV file folder for you to start from, and hopefully those files are appropriately named. The following is a simple checklist of what to do first, second, third. It should help make your getting started easier and quicker, okay? Less file management so you can start mixing sooner. Remember, this is simply my opinion and no way meant to be how you should do it. This is merely the way I like to get this test done, okay? Some engineers like to start with a template. Some engineers just dive in and start without organizing the session. Some engineers would just put an EQ and a compressor on every track because that's how they do it. There are no rules, man. You just be you and get it done. Does anybody really care about how you do your mix? Not really, as long as they love the results. Like when you go to a movie and you're watching the movie, do you really ask yourself, "Oh, I wonder what video editing software they used or video editing system they used for this movie?" No, you just like the movie. You hear a song, I mean, we're different. Engineers are wired differently. So when I hear a song, I wonder what reverb that was on the vocals because it's so smooth. I'm like, "Ooh, I wonder what reverb they used on those vocals." But we do that. But normally, I almost said normal people. But normally people, when they hear a song, they just like the song. They don't really care about how it was made or what DAW they used or what plugin they use or what mic they use for the vocals. Nobody really cares. Look, just be you, mix. Okay? So, session setup. Look, this is not DAW specific. We're not talking about strictly Pro Tools. We're not talking about strictly Logic, whatever. This is just, you create your mix session. So you can start from fresh or you can start from a template, whatever. You could simply import the session data from the client session and start there. All right, when you import session data, you can leave off all the automation and all the plugins and that kind of thing. You can set up what you want to import that they had on their session. So that would be a whole nother That's going to be a whole nother video, man, to talk about importing from that and show you how to do that. That's specific to Pro Tools as well. So make sure the tracks are labeled correctly. Look, if not, try to label the tracks. Sometimes, though, if it's it might be a large R&B session. It might be 68 tracks, mostly vocals. And if none of these tracks are labeled, they come in as audio 1, audio 2, audio 3. It makes life really difficult to try to figure out. You got to try to solo and figure out, oh, is that the lead vocal? Is that the double? Is that the harmony? Is it the, no. If that happens, if it's a big session and they're not labeled, I usually send the session back to the client and ask them to label properly. So then I'll arrange the tracks in order I like to see them. For example, I like to see my tracks with the drums on the left, then the basses, then the guitars, then the keys, then the vocals. You can use routing folders as long as you can make the groups for doing things like solo and muting and things like that. Routing folders in Pro Tools are a great way to organize and make your subgroups, simultaneously, especially if for a bigger session, especially. I personally am not used to using folders, so I'm trying to learn. I'm actually trying to learn to use folders. I've been using Pro Tools since 2002, and it's difficult for me to try something different. I have my way of doing things. It works for me. I just continue to do it that way. Okay. I also like to put in a master fader in the session, and I add some plugins to my master fader. This is called top-down mixing. You can go do a search for that if you like. It's there. I basically make my master fader sound great while I'm working on the mix. Okay, I might put an EQ and a compressor. I don't add much. Maybe a slight bump in the higher frequencies to give a little sparkle. Try the top-down mixing technique on your next mix and see if it helps you feel better about your mix decisions. There are other plugins, like Jason Joshua has the God Particle, which is awesome. I actually have that. I do use that quite often. There's another one by Waves, which is pretty inexpensive, called BB Tubes. Check that out. It's really, if you don't have that, try it. Just try it. If you like it, then put that into your daily workflow. In most cases, I leave the master fader processing on while I'm mixing the song. I like to make sure I hear the mix as I'm listening to it on other devices, my phone, the car, the boom. I'll mix into the master fader, in other words. Okay, here's a few tips. First, get your tracks into or open the session in whatever DAW you're using. Organize your tracks in the order in which you like to see things. Create groups of like instruments and vocals. You can color code those groups. Look, there's no standard to the color coding as long as you can see all the tracks quickly, especially in a large mix. That's all it's for. There's no like standard color coding. You just do yours. I like to create auxiliary tracks, subgroup tracks, whatever I think I might need, such as I might need a snare reverb, a vocal reverb and a delay, a guitar verb, whatever. So there's that. You know what? Something I do that's kind of weird. I don't know if it's weird, but some people ask about it. I create a music only subgroup and I create a vocal only subgroup, and I will sidechain compress the music group. So whenever the vocals happen, the music goes down like half a dB to give the vocals a little bit more room to flow. And then when there's no vocals, the music comes back and it's in full volume. So I do that just to create a little bit of excitement in a mix. You can do whatever you need to do that. I do create a master fader and I insert like maybe an EQ, the 7-band from Pro Tools, maybe the Pro Compressor from Pro Tools. I set it to bypass for now, okay? But then I'll make sure I listen to everything and double check my internal routing, make sure I can hear everything. Then I'll listen to everything and I'll drop markers for the arrangements. I'll turn I'll create a static mix by adjusting the levels and the panning. I get the mix sounding halfway decent. Then I'll unbypass the stuff on the master fader and I'll mix into that. There's no huge master fader moves just yet. I mean, I don't add a lot. I don't want to add any added volume to it while I'm working. I'm not mastering in a mix session. In other words, I just make it sound. I might add a little bit of sparkle to the top end, maybe get rid of some of the low end stuff that we don't really need. You don't need everything. You don't really need anything 30 hertz and below, so you could probably get rid of that. So when you feel like your mix sounds pretty good with just the levels and panning, then you can start to add things to enhance stuff like EQ, compression. You could start adding the ear candy like reverbs and delays and chorus doublers, whatever. Just let the mixing begin. Get settled in, start mixing, make a coffee or an adult frosty beverage. Kick off your shoes, light a candle, whatever you got to do to get your mix on. This is your mix. Whatever you got to do to get comfortable in your mix. Get it done. It's time to start working your mix magic. Okay. So how do you know when your mix is done? The old timers say you know your mix is done when everybody in the band thinks they're the loudest. Think about that for a minute. Everybody can hear their instrument or vocal part perfectly, plus everything else in the mix. That's when you know your mix is done. Hopefully, this is going to motivate you and give you insight into how other people do mixes. Try additional techniques, try new things when you can. It's all about growth and experience and simply getting better at what you do. You'll be more efficient and more effective in no time. You know who's going to notice? Your clients. For more information like this, consider joining the Learn Pro Recording membership and community. In the membership and community, there's tons of information about this stuff. In the membership, the community is there to, you could actually ask some of the other community members to check out your mix, to critique it, give you ideas, maybe share with you a template, whatever. The Learn Pro Recording membership is an ongoing place to learn, grow, and share with your peers. There's tons of support and training to help forge your career as an audio engineer, producer, and studio owner. Hashtag quit your day job, everybody. Let's get this done. Get up in here and start working. Look, reach out if you have any questions. You can reach me at info@learnprorecording.com. Again, my name is Donnie B. I am out of here. Peace.